Hello and welcome back to DJCamel Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Now I think this was supposed to be called Across the Spiderverse Part 1. It's definitely a Part 1 of a two-part story, and I like this movie an awful lot. I even loved parts of it. It's pretty damn good. But I feel like this is going to be a somewhat negative review because of two aspects. Because of the way that they handled the two-part cliffhanger element and the recent news story that broke, which isn't a surprise and it's very disappointing, is that it was hell to work on for the poor animators. This is an animated movie. It's the longest American studio animated movie of all time, at about 2 hours 15 minutes. So not massively long, it's not 3 hours, but I think if it is the longest for an American studio, Sony Animation, then, well, that indicates something that, it's pretty bad to work on one movie, but when you're supposed to be working on two at the same time, although they apparently, the date for the next movie, the third movie in this trilogy, is out allegedly March next year. There's absolutely no way that's going to happen if they've barely finished this one, and actually they had to release a new version like a week in or a few days in because of some sound quality issues. Send it to the theatres again. So yeah, not good. A lot of people left the project because of too long working hours and just awful conditions. It's not good. Same issue with the gaming industry. Really rubbish conditions working on a lot of AAA games. The big budget ones. So it's a real shame that happened. And you can tell because it's animated so well that you can imagine that a lot of hours and a lot of pain went into making this. This is the best animated movie I've ever seen, in terms of, not the best animated movie, but the most well animated. It's incredible. And I watched Into the Spiderverse, which came out in 2018, the day before, and I think I prefer that movie. It's a bit tighter paced. Because this is not very well paced, because the first hour has a lot of human drama, which is emotional and really well done, and a lot of heartfelt moments, well acted and well animated, and nice and quiet and reserved, which a lot of blockbusters aren't. It's sort of a slower movie, which is always kind of nice, and then the second hour is more exciting, but it feels like I just got a notification saying I'm running out of storage. That's not very good. The story is incomplete. The film ends on a cliffhanger. I won't say what it was, but it's like a almost literal cliffhanger where it ends halfway through a scene, really. Someone is, in a perilous position immediately. Whereas I always look at it, I watched Avengers Infinity War recently. Avengers 3 and Avengers 4, they're a part 1 and a part 2, but Avengers 3 ends on a cliffhanger, but for like the whole world, and it's not just halfway through a scene. You know what's happened, and you know what's going to happen in the next scene. Everyone's going to start crying, and then there's a time jump in the next movie, and allegedly that's what's going to be happening in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 in a week, where it's going to have a time jump for the next movie. This one doesn't. This one isn't going to do that. If there's a time jump at the end of this movie and you walk into, in like 2 years' time, I guess, not in, 9 months until March, because that's not when it's going to be coming out. If you walk into the next Spider-Verse movie and there's been a time jump, I'm walking out immediately, because I didn't feel like it was a very good way to end the movie, because you do feel, you want to leave people wanting more, but not quite that more, I would say. However, this was really funny. Great action when there is some. There's a train sequence where it's not a train, it's actually a rocket going to the moon, which I thought was incredible. And really well animated. Lots of different spider people, some cameos, but it doesn't feel like it relies on cameos, which I know another summer movie this year, which I haven't seen and will remain nameless, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Another movie this year has relied on cameos for quality, and this one doesn't do that. They're here and they're fun, but they feel part of the story. And, it's a proper Spider-Man movie. the consequences of people's actions feel like they do in Spider-Man comics. I'm not having read one, but so I'm told. Yeah, I think animation is probably the best way. It is the best way to demonstrate the energy that all these spider people have in this multiverse. And clearly, this movie is doing really well, and it deserves to because it's really good. And it's found its audience, and I think it shows that Marvel fatigue, superhero fatigue, multiverse fatigue. These are terms that people have been throwing around on the internet. Doesn't exist. Really, if you just make a good movie, people will come and see it. Whereas if you make a less good movie, people are not going to go see it. And as we've, seen with a few box office things, Indiana Jones, The Flash, even Transformers, these movies aren't as good, and fewer people are going to see them. But this one's really well reviewed, and deservedly so. Really good movie, 8 out of 10. Maybe not as good as the first, but again, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Poorly handled part 1, and awful conditions for the people working on it. You can look into that more on the internet, which is a shame, but a good movie, so definitely check this one out as well.